So I found this in a box, and I thought it would be fun to look at Gen 13 issue 13 ABC, the Jim Lee Tribute Edition. So what this is when Gen 13 got to issue number 13, they split it up into three individual issues: 13A, 13B, and 13C. Not variant covers, but separate issues. I think this is the original, what they looked like. So you had, so I guess it was to give J. Scott Campbell more time to draw it. So then this, I don't remember how this was originally available, but I guess through Wizard. But this is all three parts of issue 13 combined, and it's kind of fun to look at. This is the only book J. Scott Campbell did interior art for any like sort of extended run. He did Danger Girl after he left Gen 13, but that was like a 7-issue miniseries that came out over a span of about 3 years, from about 94 through 97 or so. He cranked out quite a few issues of Gen 13 that he actually drew, which I don't think he's done a full length interior book in like 20 years now. But this was a really fun comic, and it was ridiculously popular at the time. Like this book was all the rage. And a funny thing about Gen 13, a lot of people go after J. Scott Campbell for being a quote-unquote cheesecake art. So here's where all the cameos come in. We got Archie, Betty and Veronica. Like, all comic book artists were big pin-up artists. Look at the hot babes that Will Eisner used to draw, like in those Spirit comics, they were full of babes, man. I think the whole cheesecake thing is a disingenuous knock. I never used that word to describe anything. Here's the Ninja Turtles. So did you think Archie and TMNT would be in the same Gen 13 book? This is pretty funny. He drew all the underwear, the action figures, the Nintendo game, the Pez, the breakfast cereal, toothbrush. I guess TMNT Mania had kind of died down, but you got all the red bandanas here. So these are the comic book versions of the Turtles. And here we got Bone. This Bone was a book in the mid-90s. Like Wizard hyped it up all the time. And here's the Savage Dragon. A nondescript female heroine. I think he's kind of making fun of Rob Liefeld right here. This might have came out around the time that they kicked Liefeld out of Image. And here's Jim Lee. This was, I guess, around the time Heroes Reborn. And here's Spawn. Yeah, so this is packed full of characters. And Madman. And here we got Max showing up in Gen 13. Another big 90s book. Lady Death. She. These were kind of the bad girls that were really big in the 90s. Monkey Man and O'Brien, or is that Hellboy? Yeah. I think this is Monkey Man from a book that Art Adams did, and that's Hellboy. They're making fun of chromium covers. And they saved the big one towards the end, Wolverine. So a pretty crazy comic. I don't think this will ever be reprinted anywhere just due to all the characters. So uh, who was in this? Archie, the Ninja Turtles, Spawn, Wolverine, Bone, Madman, She, Lady Death, Max, Savage Dragon. Did I say Spawn again already? So a ton of major cameos in a single comic by really one of the biggest superstar comics artists that there's been. J. Scott Campbell made waves that really no one has done since. Unfortunately, I guess he probably won't draw interiors anymore, but an interesting piece of history and time. Gen 13's never really worked since without Campbell. They've tried to bring it back. I don't know if they'll ever use it again, but when you look back at this, it's just pure 90s. If you remember the comics at the time, this was fun, and this was one of the most popular books. And all the Twitter warriors who act so offended by J. Scott Campbell now, back in the actual 90s, this was one of the few comics that girls were actually interested in. Like, chicks might pick up like X-Men and Gen 13, and that was all they cared about. So he had like a huge crossover appeal. So when the phony outrage that people come at now is disingenuous, I think. But I like the old Gen 13 comics, and it just, I think, represents a fun time in the 90s that we'll probably never get to relive.